Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Tim Knight.
And I'm David Decker.
And today, as always, we are here to discuss the things that really matter. Today's issue is it ethical to clone humans? I'm going to be defending the argument that it is unethical.
And I'm going to be arguing that it is ethical. Now, today, as always, remember that the views and opinions expressed in this discussion are not necessarily our own and are only for our enjoyment and your amusement. Now, Tim, why do you think that cloning humans is unethical?
I just think the only way someone should be brought into the world is from another human being, not a genetic replica as cloning would entail. And I just don't think it's that right. And we already have a population problem, and we don't need to add to it.
However, what if we can clone people to be better? To clone away...
Then we're just playing God.
To clone away deadly diseases. To clone away... bad traits that may lead to alcoholism or mental Alzheimer's later in life. What if we can solve all future problems before they can even develop?
That you're playing God, and there's an issue. There's like a morally wrong issue that I know morals aren't your thing sometimes, but there's a big thing wrong with that. If we take all those things, how will people die? You say that we need to let some people
still
die.
I believe that it will be a good eventuality when people become it's not immortal, but when people reach a point when natural causes do not kill people, and the only way.
So you're saying we should use cloning to solve current problems, just living, day-to-day stuff, not the thing that will kill you at the end, like natural causes?
No, to stop disease, to stop
clone out heart disease,
clone out
heart failure.
Not necessarily heart failure, because that is beyond necessarily just direct cloning. But I believe that it would be good if we can look at the genetic code and edit out parts that lead to autism or to just mental disorders or OCD and just problems that people have to deal with, and so that people don't have to deal with that anymore.
So you're telling me with this, you think it's okay if someone had a couple had a kid, they could pretty much pick and choose what their baby had. You could choose their hair color, their high school, their
in vitro fertilization. You can look through traits of what people have and choose which one you want. How is this any different?
Because this one you can choose every single specific thing. With
okay.
You can choose hair color, hairstyle,
but
it's all unnatural. But
who cares if it's unnatural?
There's a point where we get too strong for our own good, and doing that would just
what
be
does
just
that even mean?
We're too unstoppable. There's a point where that gets bad. I don't think we can have this.
Where's that point at?
I think once you can start choosing your traits. I'm okay with my traits. I don't think they need to change it. I don't think people should be able to pick and choose their traits, because then everyone's pretty much perfect in a sense.
Not necessarily. I mean,
if we had the option to clone, why wouldn't you make yourself perfect?
Look at other cultures. Korea. Almost everyone does plastic surgery in Korea because.
But plastic surgery isn't altering your genetic code.
It's altering It's changing imperfections.
But as your argument said, you couldn't fight disease with plastic surgery. That's not going to help you get rid of all disease.
You can. It's merely a metaphor, Timothy.
We're not talking about metaphors, Timothy. We're talking about arguments, logical arguments.
We can end certain diseases by cloning people and changing and looking at traits and choosing ones that will not lead to avoidable diseases, then I think that is good.
I just think that's too unnatural. You're playing God too much.
I don't think that's a
and
problem.
Then what's the cost of this though? Do only the super wealthy get it, or does everyone get it? How do you make that available to everyone? You can't. It's impossible.
Okay.
You're gonna have diseases no matter what. Diseases evolve.
Eventually they'll die out.
But
I'm not talking. Okay, I'm talking about conditions, not necessarily diseases. I'm talking about things that are not like infectious diseases. I'm talking about heart disease. I'm talking about Lou Gehrig's disease. I'm talking about these things that are conditions that stem from genetics generally. For instance, I'm talking about never having Down syndrome. No one ever having Down syndrome again. No one having to live with MS because I believe that is genetic. That stems from a genetic defect. If we can live in a world without these horrible, debilitating diseases, and the answer to that is genetic modification on humans, I believe that is a worthy thing to do.
I think just the consequences of it, because then if you do that, people are going to want to use them for these other things. You're going to have to make new laws on genetics, and that's going to be like impractical to apply, because then everyone will just use it for their own self-benefit. Everyone will look the best they can. Everyone will.
Why is that a
everyone
problem?
Everyone will be super strong. Like you can do.
Why is that a problem?
Okay, if everyone changed their genetics to be super smart, then everyone's too smart for
their
them.
children to be super smart. They can't necessarily change them after the fact.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's say you have a children. If everyone's having children, they're super smart. Sure, you may think that's good, but then everyone's just gonna like overthrow each other.
This is complete and utter just like conjecture that you have no evidence for.
David, you don't have any evidence.
I don't have evidence for
There's no evidence for this argument.
There is evidence that we can do what I'm saying. That you can
but we don't
rid our society of
I'm sure
diseases.
you can, but I don't think we should.
Okay, do you agree that genetic modification for humans, if it is only used to rid people of genetic diseases, is that okay?
That's it. Yes, I do not have.
That is fine.
I think that is okay.
But you think if it is used to pick and choose genetic traits
yes.
beyond that,
that just defeats the purpose of reproduction. Like that's almost non-living in a sense. Like reproduction.
It's a new it would change humanity.
Can we agree? Like
I think
the 7 characteristics of life. One of them is reproduction.
We're still reproducing.
Yeah, you're really not.
Yeah, we are.
Reproducing is passing down your own genes. Putting in changing those genes is not reproducing. That's almost non-living, David.
It would change what it meant to be a living being. It would change what it meant to be a living human. But
I don't think we can make those changes.
That is not necessarily a bad thing.
I think that is a horrible idea. I would consider people
change humanity.
You
think humanity needs to stagnate and stay in its current state forever?
I
don't think that
we're evolving. We're all evolving. I'm not saying that we're not evolving. I don't think we should change the process of natural evolution.
One of the current problems, we evolve so slowly that
maybe that's a good thing.
Why is that necessarily a good thing?
Because we don't like we talked about in some other things, changing fast can have bad consequences. I'm not saying change is bad, but
okay. Let me make this clear. I am not advocating for in the right now, like largely modifying the human genome at the current technology. I do not believe it is exact enough to justify using it for certain things. However, in the future, when we have this science down perfectly, and we can perfectly know exactly what will happen when we change certain genes, I think then it will become okay.
But I think the issue is with that you could create like superhumans with that.
Yeah.
And
what if everyone's just a superhuman?
Yeah.
Then we could transcend it. That would get us.
That was the idea in The Incredibles.
Think of the progress that could be achieved with a race of superhumans.
But then we'd all destroy each other.
Not necessarily.
Is everyone good and dandy? No.
You realize how many problems are created in this world because people are stupid, right?
Yeah, but there would be even more problems if everyone was too smart for their own good.
Why?
If everyone was just a bunch of smart butts, then it just wouldn't look good. Like people would just be like. Now, currently, we have an issue of scientific information being withheld for own personal benefit. We have a huge plagiarism problem. If everyone was super smart, everyone would
be able to generate their own.
Everyone would be competing each other, and we wouldn't be able to get stuff done. We wouldn't be able to push the meta of life even further.
I would argue that this sort of change would change what it meant to be human and would change what human society actually was.
Yeah.
Okay, now I believe we need to move on to closing arguments.
Tim,
would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'd like to start this one. I think in some circumstances for changing things like life-threatening diseases or conditions, genetic modification is okay. But I don't think it's okay to pick and choose your traits because you're just playing God. And I think that can have some very unnecessary and bad consequences.
I would argue that in the future, when we have this science down to perfection and that we can choose exactly what we want to change, I think that will not be a bad world to live in when everyone is the best that they can be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching.
Boom. Thank you for watching, everyone.
Please leave a like or subscribe.
Feel free to comment who you think won this debate.
And if you have an idea for a future discussion, feel free to leave it in the comments section.
Thank you.